Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rakshaman. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Rama Raghava, Raghava. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Shava Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militang Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Trinadapi Sunichena Tarad Iva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Nama Ivakivalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatir Anyatha. Welcome to the best temple in all of ISKCON. So, in the mid-60s, 63 to 65, Prabhupada published the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, after publishing that first canto, Prabhupada felt he was ready to come to America. So, in 65, perhaps maybe even in 64, he was trying. He had no money. He found out there was a nice Gujarati lady, Srimati Morarji, and she owned a shipping company. So Prabhupada was very persistent. You must give me passage. I must fulfill the order of my spiritual master, who told me to come to the West. But Srimati Morarji was very good Pushti Margi devotee. She said, "Oh, Swamiji, you are old man. I cannot be responsible for you. You will go to America and you'll die. I don't want that on my head." Prabhupada laughed. "I'm not going to die." But still, she was not giving the ticket. But Prabhupada is not one to give up. So he repeatedly went back. And so finally he wore her down. And so he got the ticket. Was it August Divididas? Yes. So that was 1965. Prabhupada was on the verge of his 70th birthday. Yes? We need your mic, Divididas. Now a word from Divididas, because he is my editor. So we get immediate corrections. Oh, he's got two mics. Good. Stereo. All right, what's happening?
Here's the story. Prabhupada explained it was his 70th birthday. But in India, the day you're born is your first birthday. But in America, it's a year later.
Yes.
Right. So it was his 70th birthday, but he turned 69 on the ship. Because it was Janmashtami time like that.
Thank you. We'll give him a ding. Very good. So, meanwhile, in America, summer of 65, I remember it very well. I was 15 years old, living in Hempstead, Long Island. And there were 3 big summer songs. Typically in America, there's always a summer blockbuster hit song. So that summer of 65, I know it very well. The 2 big songs, John Lennon was singing, "Help, I need somebody." Mick Jagger was singing, "I can't get no satisfaction." And in September, just when Prabhupada was arriving, what was the big song? Bob Dylan was singing, "How does it feel to be on your own, with no direction home, like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone?" Krishna heard all that. "Oh, you want help? I'm sending Prabhupada. You can't get any satisfaction? Prabhupada will give you the Maha Mantra." And what Bob Dylan was singing, that was Prabhupada's position. He came to America, 40 rupees. Nobody does that. That's equivalent, but back then that was like $7. So when Prabhupada arrived, he had a big suitcase, was it a big trunk full of his Bhagavatams? So the destination was New York. But after a 2-month journey in which Prabhupada suffered 2 heart attacks, but Krishna protected him. 2 big heart attacks. He arrived September 17, 1965, and to me, that is the most important day in American history, for me. That's the real Independence Day. Prabhupada's coming to America meant you are going to become free from Maya. That's real independence. I'll give myself a ding. So, the ship landed in Boston. And the Captain Pandya, he took Prabhupada on a little tour of Boston. And Prabhupada saw the Boston skyline. And one of the first things he saw was A and P. And anyone who lived on the East Coast, A and P was like Ralph's. It was the grocery store. My parents, that's what we had, an A and P in downtown Hempstead. So that was one of the things he saw. He noticed other things, which we'll get to. So getting back on the ship is now about to go from Boston to New York. So Prabhupada on the 18th composed a Bengali poem, Markine Bhagavat Dharma, preaching Krishna consciousness in the West. So I like to point out, because sometimes there's this thing, Krishna West, that's ISKCON. Prabhupada is the original founder of Krishna West. Yes, that is what ISKCON. Not only Krishna West, then it came back to India. Prabhupada tried preaching in India, but people were not interested. He would approach some families. Oh, give me your son. I'll train him to be Pakka Brahman. And the people would say, no, no, no. We need him to go to school and get an engineering job and bring back money to us. The son became an investment. They were not about to give to Swamiji. So Prabhupada tried, but India was not ready. So Prabhupada came to America. And so on that Commonwealth Pier in Boston, before coming to New York, Prabhupada composed a Bengali poem. Now, as far as I know, this is Prabhupada's translation or someone else's?
This is Prabhupada's translation, but Jai Sachinanda went over it. There's a whole history. Jai Sachinanda went over it, and he made some suggestions which Prabhupada accepted. So it's been once over. There was a letter that was exchanged.
Okay, so but the basic is
yes, for sure.
Prabhupada and just a little tweaks by our godbrother. Okay, good to know. Another ding for Dravida. That's two. All right. So every year I have to lecture on this poem. Why? Because to me, it's like a spiritual oil change. You got a car, right? Nowadays it's like 5,000 miles. You're supposed to get an oil change. So for me, every year, this is like refreshing, cleansing, gets me focused. Because this prayer, I subtitle it myself, The Preacher's Prayer. By reading this poem, we have an expression in ISKCON, fired up. If you're going to preach, you're going to do kirtan, you have to be fired up, like Arjuna. Arjuna, in the beginning of Bhagavad-gita, he was not fired up. He was fired down. He was morose. He didn't want to fight. He was confused. Krishna had to fire him up by explaining Bhagavad-gita. And at the end, Arjuna's fired up. Yes, my illusion is dispelled. I am now firm, ready to execute your instructions. And then Arjuna fought the battle of Kurukshetra, and of course, he came out victorious. And the key factor, the really key factor, Parthasarathi. Krishna was on Arjuna's chariot. Even Bhishma Dev warned Duryodhana in the beginning, while they were fighting, day one, Bhishma said, you fool, you are not going to defeat Arjuna as long as Krishna is on his chariot. Forget about it, Krishna said. But Duryodhana is like our modern politicians, stubborn, hubris, stupid. Yes, so many times he was warned, he was advised, by so many people. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. But him, talk to the hand. He was determined. Okay. How did Duryodhana die? His spine was broken by the beating of Bhima, who had pent up anger. 14 years of pent up anger, just waiting to be released. Anyway, this poem is like my elixir of immortality. Let me read it to you. Are you ready? Prabhupada starts, "My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me." So this first sentence, this shows full surrender. This is the symptom. First of all, humility. I'm useless. Humility. Now you can do whatever you like with me. That's called surrender. And that message will be repeated throughout the poem, his full surrender. Then he says, "But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Prabhupada just blasphemed America." But Prabhupada is a Vaikuntha man. He's not impressed with factories and skyscraper buildings and smog. No. Actually, if you study Prabhupada's first canto purports, which I'm doing recently, very critical of modern civilization. Very critical. So, it says here, you have some business. So one may ask, what is Krishna's business? So we learn in Prabhupada's purports that this material world has only two purposes. One purpose for those who want to go to hell, good, enjoy. Here is the material world, Maya. Enjoy to your heart's content and go to hell if that's what you want. The other purpose of the material world is for you. You, by coming here, you are indicating, no, I do not just want to enjoy this world, I want to go back, key word, back home, back to Godhead. Our magazine, Prabhupada's magazine, back to Godhead. Not going to Godhead, back. What's the implication? We were already there. Wait. Yes. Like I came here from Orange County. So after the lecture, I will go back to Orange County. Yes. You can't go back to something you've never been. So those are the two businesses, Krishna. You want to enjoy without restriction to your heart's content? Go. You're free to do as you like. Or do you want to rectify? Do you want to finish up your business here and go back to Godhead? The choice is yours. Free will. Minute, but still, it's free will. Then, terrible place. Because Prabhupada's standard is transcendental, spiritual. You see it in his books, how he gives beautiful descriptions of Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan. It's so attractive that, yes, I would like to go there, play with Krishna, dance with Krishna. wrestle with Krishna, eat with Krishna. It's all possible. Now Prabhupada really nails America. Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied. That's Maya. How do you know Maya? You're suffering, but you think you're enjoying. That's Maya. You're actually suffering, but you've convinced yourself, no, I'm... Classic example. I remember I was a young punk, 10 years old. I said, I'm going to sneak. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. I want to be cool because all the cool kids in Hempstead were smoking cigarettes. So I tried it. I tried it again. Yeah. That's Maya. Come, smoke, and now suffer, choke, cough, get lung cancer. Yes. So he could observe just by seeing his little amount of time in Boston what the pulse of America was: ignorance and passion. And they therefore have no taste for the transcendental message of, everybody say, Vasudeva. Vasudeva is Krishna. And the message of Vasudeva is Bhagavad-gita. So Prabhupada knows they're stuck in the modes of passion and ignorance. They're not going to have any taste for hearing about Gita. So then he says, I do not know how they will be able to understand it. Then faith kicks in. But I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible because you are the most expert mystic. So two things here. That because Krishna is inconceivable and unlimited and infallible, then there's nothing Krishna cannot do. If you put any limitation on Krishna, then that means you're limiting him, and therefore there must be something greater than Krishna. Just like there is this word, asamardva, or asamaurdva, if you break it out. Means no one is equal to Krishna, and nobody is greater than Krishna. So, Prabhupada is very well aware that despite all odds, Krishna can do anything. And then he says, you are the most expert mystic. You could say he's inferring the final verse of Bhagavad-gita, where Sanjaya says to Dhritarashtra, it's the last verse of the Gita, wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the great warrior, then there will be victory, morality, opulence. So, Prabhupada knows this philosophy of Krishna very well. So now he says, how will they understand the mellows of devotional service? Yes, rasa. This is a very nice, advanced topic. Different rasas, different mellows that you can have with Krishna, different relationships. There are 5 different relationships, basic. Tell me which one. You can ask yourself. You ask yourself, which of these 5 attracts you? You want to worship Krishna? Oh, awesome. Right? You see the bumper sticker. God is awesome. That's Shantaras. Wow. Amazing. Far out. Then higher. Yes, he's amazing. I would like to do some service for him. That's Dasya. Now let's go higher. I would like to become more intimate in my service and friendship. And then we can go even higher. I love Krishna so much, I want to treat him like my own child. Those of you who have children, you know what it's like. It's such a wonderful experience to raise a child, carry in the womb 9, 10 months, and then raise it step by step. Imagine having that experience with Krishna. Just think about it. But we're not finished. There's even a higher relationship. Madhurya, the sweet conjugal relationship. So you can think about it. Which one of those attracts you? Keep it private. Nobody needs to know. But you can think of them. I like that. Oh Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. So here, this is how I should be thinking whenever I sit down to lecture. I am simply praying for your mercy. Not that, yeah, I'm really going to knock them out today. I'm going to say, oh, I've had so much experience. I've done all this homework. And then when it comes time to lecture, what comes out? Krishna just covers me over, and I sound like a bumbling idiot. So, this teaches me what should be my mentality. My Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message, not my message. Krishna's message. Therefore, I consider myself Krishna's salesman. If you're a salesman for a company, you sell the company product. And if you put I remember there was a period of time, in order to support my family, I had to work in the material world. And I worked for a video production company. And after a year or so, everybody in the office found out, oh, he's a Hare Krishna. But I didn't care. So there was one rascal. Guy always gave me a hard time. He really hated the fact that I believed in God, and that especially that I was a Hare Krishna. So he would always make life miserable until one day the company was close to bankruptcy. So he was saying, hey, maybe we can get some of your Hare Krishnas to sell our videos on the street. I just looked at him like, no, we're not going to sell your dumb videos. Unbelievable. I can still see him. Hare Krishna. All living entities have come under the... Now this one I'm going to let Dravida explain. So get ready, Dravida. All living entities have become under the control of the illusory energy by your will. And therefore, if you like, by your mercy, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. So, Dravida, I gave a talk on this last night at a different temple. And of course, this one raised some doubts. We've been put here by Krishna. What is Krishna, some vindictive God that some of us get sent to the prison? Can you explain? Can you help?
Yeah.
I knew he could.
It's by Krishna's will, but he's responding to our own desire. Right? In other words, yeah, this is the arrangement that he has for teaching us. We don't want to be with Krishna, we're rebelling against Krishna. Okay, you try to work it out in the material world. And he always has a representative, or he's here rarely, he has his books here, he has his representatives here. And if we're fortunate and we get the mercy of one of his dear devotees, then they can turn our mind toward the words of Krishna. In other words, we can become interested in the Bhagavad-gita and in this way find out the big mistake we made. So it's our desire. He's responding. We have minute free will, but this is his arrangement for reforming us, and that's
yes. So, how I like to say, we made the first move on the chessboard. Then Krishna makes his move. Not that Krishna picks and chooses, damned, saved, damned. No, because before coming to Krishna consciousness, that's how a lot of people thought. That God just, okay, you're okay, you I'm punishing. No. That kind of God, I would become an atheist. But when I see the presentation of God in Gita and Bhagavatam, this is something I can accept. I'm here because of my own stupidity. I got nobody to blame. I got myself here. So let me rectify. Now he comes. The words of Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation. So that's important. Sometimes people ask, Prabhu, Krishna says, whenever there is discrepancy, dharmasya glani, Krishna comes. Well, I'm turning on the news for the last 80 years, and it's just getting worse, and when's Krishna going to come? But he's already come. He's given us Srimad Bhagavatam. That is Krishna's book incarnation. Prabhupada gave us Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada gave us this movement. And of course, we have the Hare Krishna mantra. And Prabhupada even writes that Krishna has taken birth in this ISKCON Hare Krishna movement. And Krishna is here. Is not the deity of Krishna here? Is this a stone statue? Are we idolaters? Or are we worshiping God? Yes. I don't know about you. That's why I always joke when people would say, like my father, oh, why are you worshiping idols? I said, idols? I'm not worshiping idols. I'm worshiping God. Yes. To my father, it looked like a stone statue, but not to you. You don't see a stone statue. What do you see? Radha Krishna. Yes, perception. The words of Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation. And if a sober person repeatedly receives it, sober. What does it mean to be sober? It means no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no gambling. That's sober. Let me tell you a nice story. Back in the early 2000s, every year, maybe twice a year, I would go to Panama for preaching. So, in Panama, mostly it was Sindhi people. And the people that I was doing programs, they're very wealthy. So there was this one program I did in a penthouse. The guy owned the whole floor. I forget his name. And those who are familiar, there are many Sindhis in Hong Kong. And they're very wealthy. So visiting at the program was this very extremely wealthy Sindhi lady and her husband. So I did my kirtan. I gave my lecture like I'm doing. So after she said, Swamiji, I don't have any peace in my life. Can you give me peace? As if I had some magic wand. Peace. So I said, okay, you want peace? Okay. Just answer one question. Do you eat meat? Oh, I love meat. And I said, I can't give you peace. I said, okay. Do you drink liquor? Oh, I love it. And I said, I can't give you peace. So I asked the third time, do you gamble? Oh, yeah. We get together, all of our friends. Even we do a Gita session, then we play cards. So I said, 3 strikes, you're out. I can't give you peace. Because everything you're doing simply negates the possibility of having peace. If you want peace, first you have to become sinless. You cannot be peaceful if you're committing sin, which is why Prabhupada insisted. You want to become disciples? You have to vow these 4 things strictly. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling. Otherwise, so-called spiritual life is a farce. You'll not make any advancement. If a sober person repeatedly receives it with submissive oral reception, that's another big item. Not that every other word I'm challenging. What about this? What? That's not, no. Submissively. Let me consider. Then one will be able to understand your message. One will become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart will disappear. So this is, I'm not going to read it, but in this poem, Prabhupada did a whole string of verses which Dravida considers like the science of self-realization. Yeah. It's a series of verses, and if it's just like such a succinct definition of our whole process. But here he's saying, yes, if you hear this message of Guru and Krishna, you will, inauspiciousness will drive out of your heart. Then again, how will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Again, utter humility. Therefore, I am seeking your benediction so that I can convince them. For I am powerless to do so on my own. This is, if you consider yourself a preacher, I highly recommend studying this poem. Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. I've experienced this so many times. When I went to Panama, when I went to Santiago, Chile, I even did some programs in South India. And it's always like this. My Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. Same message Krishna told Arjuna. You just fight. Success or failure is up to me, not you. You just fight with full enthusiasm, intelligence. The result is not in your hands. You just execute. That's it. Same thing, the football coaches, they tell their teams, just every one of you, there's 11 guys on the field, but everyone has a specific assignment. And if everybody executes their assignment, touchdown, Haribol. But it just takes one mistake, and the whole play gets blown up. So, sometimes I think, what is life? Maybe some of you have seen those Sudoku puzzles. You ever seen Sudoku puzzles? So, the Sudoku puzzle has only one solution. And you can get almost every number correct, but then that final one, So that's life. It's a big Sudoku puzzle, and there's only one correct answer. What is that? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Yes. Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. O spiritual master of the worlds, I can, this is my whole methodology. This next sentence. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. This is the art of preaching. You have to know Krishna's message, but how you administer the medicine, everybody does it differently. Dravida has his style. You all like Dravida's style of preaching, right? Yeah. It's not my style. I have my own New York style, right? Every preacher in ISKCON. In ISKCON, we've got them all. We've got ultra-conservatives, surrender to Krishna. And we've got mellow. Oh, Krishna is so nice. I don't know. I am what I am. So far, so good? Yes. I am most loved here. That's why I like coming. Anyway, I can simply repeat your message. That's the key to success. Prabhupada used to say, I'm not saying surrender to me. I am telling you to surrender to Krishna. That's Guru. Guru doesn't say surrender to me, bow down to me. No. Guru says surrender to Krishna. That was how Prabhupada trained us. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. And I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel engladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. It's all about hearing the transcendental message. That's why in Prabhupada's temple, from the start, there had to be classes on the philosophy. Not that we just come to the temple, ring the bell, ding, ding, I'm here. Haribol, thank you. No, you have to hear the message. Because by hearing the message, something will click. And even if you just accept one thing, it can change your whole life. Even because I know what it's like to sit in the lecture and the guy is going on and on and on. It's like, oh God, when are we going to have prasadam? Right? But if there's one thing, I like what he said. That was good. That's success. Yes, you just need to take one little thing. And the idea is the message should penetrate your heart. Oh, here it comes. I love this verse. Oh Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. Wow. He's voluntarily giving himself up to Krishna. Unbelievable. Voluntary. Krishna doesn't force. But Prabhupada says, I am like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, so preaching is like dancing. Yes, it's nice. If you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance, O Lord. Make me dance as you like. Again, he finishes up humbly. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. So that seems to be muy importante. Strong faith in the holy name. And how do you know you have strong faith? You're driving your car, some knucklehead cuts you off. What comes out of your mouth? Oh, good. Yes. Not something else. Road rage. Even if a devotee has road rage, he purifies it. Hare Krishna! I've done that. If my wife is sitting in the car every 5 minutes, not anything's happening, she just doesn't like the way I drive. Hare Krishna. It's like, hello? You're going to cause an accident. Yes. I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhakti Vedanta. And now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhakti Vedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, dated 18th of September, 1965. Srila Prabhupada ki. Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. 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 Dravida Das, please take the class now to a higher level.
Prabhu, you mentioned that it was out of sheer stupidity that we came to the material world. I think that you included that in there somewhere. So I wrote a poem that has that idea in it. Some of you may have heard it before, but I think it's like at least twice. It's good to hear it. Where Krishna lives, felicity abounds. With pure simplicity and loving sensibility, all serve him with humility. But when a living entity rejects his true identity and out of sheer stupidity surrenders to cupidity, he loses all sagacity and with it all capacity to understand reality or curb his sensuality. Abandoning humility, he touts his own ability, forgetting his fragility and fortune's volatility. Immersed in asininity for what seems an infinity of lives devoid of piety, he suffers in anxiety till contact with God's devotee, perhaps of utmost brevity, awakens his affinity for words of the divinity. Perceiving the futility of all his imbecility, the soul regains his sanity and casts away his vanity. Endowed with new humility, he serves with all ability and growing spontaneity his guru and the deity. Regaining his identity, the wayward living entity returns to the fraternity of Krishna for eternity. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari.
That is the best rap song I have ever heard. I can hear it right now.
Please.
The big boom, boom, boom. Right? Yes.
No, the best rapper of all was Rupa Goswami.
Ah.
Rupa rap, all the way. Goes on for about 20 minutes. All about Krishna.
Dravida, you are 1 in a million to 1. And Balaram Das, is today your birthday? Huh? Give him the microphone.
Today happens to not be my birthday, but it's Tuesday, coming Tuesday.
Oh, okay, close enough.
Pretty close. So, yes.
So why don't you, so you're on the verge of what birthday?
37th.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You're still a kid.
Yes.
So, you're 37, you're our temple president, on the way to becoming Tridandi Sannyasi. What is your latest realization of your life?
Yeah, recently someone asked me for some advice. It was actually this morning. This was pretty recent, but I told them that I think that devotees of Krishna should absorb themselves more in the teachings and life of Lord Chaitanya. Of course, you have Lord Chaitanya here on the altar to the left. The most recent incarnation of Krishna and the mood of Srimati Radharani coming 500 years ago. So he's the father of the Sankirtan movement, the chanting of the holy names. So devotees should absorb themselves in Chaitanya Leela, pastimes of Chaitanya. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that very difficult things become easy if one remembers Lord Chaitanya. And very easy things become difficult if they forget Lord Chaitanya. So therefore he says we should always remember Lord Chaitanya. So that I've been trying to do, focus on more on Lord Chaitanya and discussing him. So that's been a great source of inspiration for me. Yes.
Jai. Very good. All right. I would like to just sing a little bit. Can I do that? How much time we have? 5 minutes. No. We have to obey. Our temple president is here. We have to obey. Huh? It's supposed to end at 7. You have a question? Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Yes. The World Wide Web.
Thank you so much for giving me opportunity to ask this question and giving me 1 minute for that. Out of 12 rasas, I think the highest one is the Madhurya Ras. Please can you enlighten us with that?
On Madhurya Ras?
Yeah.
Well, generally we don't speak in detail in an open class, but I will give a brief summary.
Thank you.
Without getting too high up there. So the Madhurya Ras means that it is the most intimate relationship that one can have with God. Relationship means person. You cannot have a relationship with a material object. There's no rasa. But God being a person, now we can talk about relation. And Prabhupada makes it very clear in his book that this concept of God being a person culminates in the topmost relationship of love, which is the conjugal relationship. And there are two divisions, Swakiya and Padakiya. Swakiya means Krishna's relationship with Lakshmi in the form of Lakshmi Narayan, or Krishna and the queens of Dwaraka, where the relationship is very prim and proper. All the rules, Vedic rules and regulations are observed, and everything is done just nicely. But higher than that is Padakiya. And the Padakiya rasa is enjoyed by Krishna and Radha, and Radha's expansions, the gopis.
Yeah, Haribol.
All the gopis,
Yeah.
they represent different aspects of Radharani's personality. And we learn from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that because there are so many gopis, then the whole conjugal experience becomes more heightened. And not only that, because it's done, shall we say, sneaky, hidden, it increases the excitement. So, if you read 10th canto, or better, Prabhupada's Krishna book, you will get a nice idea. And then after that, you can read sections in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Krishnadas Kaviraj gives us more insight to the different types of conjugal relation with Krishna. But keep in mind, it can only be achieved by strict following of sadhana, the rules and regulations of the spiritual master. So, in conclusion, chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. May Krishna bless you, protect you, maintain you, and I hope to see you next month. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.